How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today is going to be a quick update video on my cheap Lambo back there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Well, if you guys are new to my channel and this is the first video that you've ever seen, then I urge you to watch my other videos. They are better produced than this one, but this is just going to be a quick update video. I have been a busy boy, and we've been working on this thing for the last few days. Now, it's been a little bit slow going, and it's been more of the same of one step forward, two steps back, or two step forward, one step back. I can never remember which one it was. But I'm going to let you know what I did and how close it is to getting on the dyno and putting down some major power. So first off, the car is on the jacks because I need to do some mechanical work back there, but I'll get to that in a second. The first thing I did was cleaned up some of the wiring. Now you guys will remember that I was doing some wiring with the lift system, and I couldn't really get the lift system to work, but I figured out a solution. Now what I did was I connected the lift system in such a way that it's not exactly OEM, but it will work well enough. So when I press this button, when I hold it down, the lift will go up, and when I let it go, the lift will go down. Now, it's not the same thing as stock. Stock, you basically press it once, it goes up and holds, and then you press it again, and the front lift goes down. The reason why I can't do this is because this button, there's nothing to do with the button, nothing to do with the wiring. It has to do with the ECU being able to interpret the signal. The stock system it has memory, so it knows where the signal is. It knows where the position is, and based on that, it sends a signal to lower or raise the lift system. So this is a stopgap. It doesn't really do that same thing because it doesn't have a memory. So in case I have to get over a speed bump or something, all I have to do is hold this button and it'll come up, and then I'll just release it and it'll come back down. The reason why I didn't want to do it the way I had it was basically I press it, it stays up until I go a certain speed, and then it comes back down, is because that means I'll be parking this thing with the hydraulic struts all the way extended. And I'll show you what they look like. Now the hydraulic struts, they go on the bottom. Let's see if you can see them. So this thing extends, there's a bellows in here, and when it extends, you don't want to keep it up there for an extended period of time, because that's where you get seal breakage, and you get some wetness. I actually do have a little bit of wetness here, but it's nothing really that bad. So I want to make sure that I don't blow any lines, because this is a power steering line. It shares the same reservoir as a power steering fluid. So that will prevent me from parking this thing with the front lift up. So the wiring I've done, it doesn't just extend to the front lift. I have made a patch harness for the front lift, and right here, instead of having the twist tie connectors or the really ghetto way of doing things, I made sure to crimp and solder everything and heat shrink everything. I actually put the pins in the harness. I still have to put the harness inside and secure it a little better, but I just made sure that all the pins work. And I got this. This is just a universal 4-pin harness, and this is going to be a little breakout box. So that goes into just a long harness here that I arranged here with some red and black cables, and that goes, I have to hide that in here, and then this all goes to the GFA patch harness. And again, this is all crimped and soldered, and this should be good to go. So that's my solution for that problem. But I've done another thing, and it has to do with this guy right here. This is the flex fuel sensor, and for a while I've been perplexed as to why this hasn't worked. On my ECU, it says that the flex fuel sensor hasn't been getting any voltage, and I checked, and there's actually no voltage at the plug. I ordered a new flex sensor, I ordered a new plug, and I thought that would be the end of it, but it ended up being none of those things, because when I checked the plug, one of these, actually this purple wire is supposed to have 12 volts. This black wire is the ground, and the white wire is supposed to be the signal that tells me the percentage of E85 or ethanol in the fuel. So if we follow this all the way in, you'll see that it goes into kind of, you know, this haphazardly connected harness. But now this purple, I connected to a switch 12 volt on this relay. I actually don't know what this relay does. This may be part of why my spider roof does not work, but we'll figure that out later. So I got this into a switch 12 volt, so that works. So I noticed that on this harness, the switch 12 volt, the wire that's supposed to get power, was actually going to here, was actually going to ground. So of course there's no voltage. It wasn't getting any signal. So I connected that to a voltage source, and then I noticed that the signal wire that's supposed to be going to the ECU was also going to ground. So every single wire that was supposed to be for the flex fuel sensor was going to ground. And all I did was connect it to one of the spare pins here. I don't know, you guys probably can't see it, but I put it inside the harness. I put a new pin in there, and then I programmed the ECU to recognize that this is a pin for the flex fuel sensor, and wouldn't you know it, it works. So now I have a working flex fuel sensor. I know how much fuel I'm getting. I know how much ethanol I'm getting. And if I put in ethanol, it'll adjust the tune. So when I actually get the tune, then it won't blow my engine or run rich or anything like that. I haven't actually tested the tune because, well, I haven't turned on the car. And the reason for that is this entire back end is all taken apart. But you guys probably know why that is if you see my last video. Now, I have been hard at work trying to figure out what's going on here. Now, this is, you can see that there's an oil leak right there. And I figured out that it's because these oil drain lines, they are gravity fed. So this needs to go the way of gravity. Gravity goes down. So the way I had this originally was this tube went down here in between the transmission and the cross member, and then it snaked around, and then it kind of made a weird up angle, went into a Y, and then went into the engine. And gravity does not go up, and you can't really force oil to go uphill. So what happens was the oil backed up, and it backed up so much that it just went into the housing here, and then it started spewing out of the back. So fortunately, I didn't have any oil spewing into the compressor housing, but that would have been basically the next step. So I found out that these are dual ball bearing turbos, and that means that they don't actually use that much oil. So even though the problem, like the routing was pretty bad, the problem wasn't really that pronounced. I only got a little bit of oil burning. It wasn't just like a complete smoke show. So that is good. Also, I found out that the lines I was using, the size of the lines I was using is fine. These actually call for -8 AN lines, and these are -10. So when I put these -10s into a Y, 2 -10s into one, that should be fine. Now, I did do a upgrade, a minor upgrade, but you can see what happened. Now, excuse the cramped quarters here, but this is the upgrade that I was talking about. This is a 12 AN line. So this is round about a 3/4 inch line, a stainless steel braided line. But you can see this funky colored fitting right here. This is a brand new fitting, and it's already leaking. I'm really concerned because there's no pressure on this oil system, and the fitting should not be leaking. So this fitting is no good. I got this from Amazon. I don't know, maybe it's just a cheap fitting, or it's just something inside is broken. But this fitting actually goes into an adapter. That adapter goes into an M16 by 1.5 fitting going into the block. And I actually had to grind that down because of this lip right here. This lip wouldn't allow any sort of, actually, let me get the vice grip off. The vice grip just fell into the oil. Great. In any case, the fitting right here, you can see with the crushed O-ring, this I'm not going to be using because I ground this down and just so it could fit. But with the O-ring, and I put some thread sealant in there as well, this shouldn't leak, but I'm definitely not going to use this. I'm going to go back to the 10AN line because I know that that didn't leak, and also I know that that's not actually making any sort of restriction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a 10AN line from here going all the way around here to a T-fitting right here, and making sure that it all slopes upward, making sure that it doesn't go underneath any of these frame rails, anything like that. It has to be nice and tucked in. Then I will move this around here. You can see I already put a little bracket here to hold it. I will have a little hose clamp, and this is just going to go like this on the outside of the transmission. I will be putting a heat shield on here to make sure that the hot exhaust doesn't in any part hit this oil line, but I think it should be good. So we're going to put this in here, and as you can see, it's a lot better routed. This is just going to go down, just kind of a straight slope down and into the block, instead of going down, around, and then back up. This should be a very elegant solution, and that's what I'm going to be doing today. But I don't think that I would need to put this on camera because, number one, it's a little finicky, and number two, you guys have already seen this when I did the turbo kit. So I'm just going to take this as a given, and I'm going to try to get as much done as possible because this car needs to go to the dyno real quick. I'm also going to be taking off this turbo housing and getting some of this oil out. I'm just going to use some compressed air, some degreaser and stuff, and just cleaning out all the oil, because even though I can't see any oil right here, well, there's no oil on the actual blade, you can see that there's some wetness right down there. So I want to make sure that that's out, and we don't have any false readings when I turn this car on in the meantime. But for oil, since I drained out all the oil, and now my vice grip is down there, that just means that I have to put new oil in, and I have 20W60 going to this car. I have 300V Motul, which is basically race oil, going into this car, which will do it very well. In addition, I'm going to be changing the brake caliper color in the next episodes because I'm not sure when I can get an appointment for the dyno. It's likely going to be later this week or early next week, or actually whenever Jeremy, Cletus McFarland's tuner, has some time, because he is a very busy man. But in the meantime, I will do some, well, I will make sure the mechanical aspects are all taken care of, and then I will get this done, and then I'll put the bumper on, and maybe we'll see if we can do something about that top. So this car should be running and driving basically at the end of today. So I will keep you guys updated. So that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little update. I will have more videos for you this week, but just I've been working on this thing and it's just been slow going, like I said in the video. So if you'd like to contact me, you can do so at The Real Tavarish. That's Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. And I read all your emails. You guys have been sending me really good advice on this car. So yeah, keep them coming. I really enjoy that interaction. I enjoy when you guys send me stuff. So yeah, keep it coming. If you want to buy this shirt, this is actually a very affordable shirt, my most affordable shirt, actually. Yeah, it's actually like 15, 16 bucks. So you can get that in my Teespring store down below. Every single dollar that goes from profit from this shirt is going to charity. It's going to be going to a charity that deals with veterans and cars, and it's called the Open Road Foundation. So yeah, it's really it's a good cause, and it's a nice shirt. So go check it out down below. If you want to listen to my podcast, you can do so at the link in the description below. That is the Wrench Everyday Podcast, but I will be changing that name soon enough. We'll be changing a few things around, and you guys, I think, are going to like it. So until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this that are a little oily and now have vice grips in the oil pan that I dropped, you guys need to wrench every day. See you guys later.